I was watching a video on the astrophysics of Outer Wilds, and a certain line caught me off guard.
You let the simulation run long enough, everything would eventually kind of fly off, gradually drift apart over very long time periods. They're not on rails.
Now the thing with Outer Wilds is that the game exists on a 22-minute time loop, so planets going off course is never an issue over the course of the game. However, this time loop only starts once you're ready to leave the starting planet, Timber Hearth. So to try and break the game, I'm going to try the very scientific method of leaving it running while I'm at work. And it has been 10.5 hours. And we haven't hit the sun yet, so that's something. Now, I'm a little paranoid that when you talk to Hornfels to get the launch codes to leave Timber Hearth, the solar system resets while you can't see it. So I'll observe as much as I can from the ground, then once I'm done, I'll start the time loop and explore the system. Thankfully, there's a map in the observatory, so we can see if there's anything out of place. And on first glance, everything seems okay, except for the twins, which are a lot further down, if that's a bearing you can use on this map, compared to where it's meant to be. And apparently its second orbit, around each other, collides with the sun. After watching a while though, it was clear they weren't actually following the trajectory displayed on the map. The interloper was completely missing, but it's also meant to be sucked into the sun eventually, so that doesn't surprise me. But overall, this solar system has held up this entire time. So now I'll get the launch codes and see what happens when I start the loop. And after grabbing the launch codes and flying straight to the Hourglass twins, I checked the map and sure enough, the system has reset. So there's one more thing I'm going to try. The game keeps the player at world position 000 because the further away you stray from the origin of the world, the more you will get things like floating point errors and other things that make me sound smart. So by flying away from the system, I can cause some errors on the map, potentially. And here, as you can see, the text becomes all fuzzy, but despite that the planets still seem to move smoothly. I believe an earlier patch used to break by doing this, but after getting 1.5 million kilometers away, I turned around and headed back and achieved nothing. So ultimately, this game is an impressive balance of rigid bodies hurtling through space. I'm sure I could wait longer and find a way to get to the ship without starting the loop, but ultimately, that's all the power I can afford to waste this. On another note, if you're a fan of sci-fi spaceship combat, then stay tuned, because I'm currently working on a board game that you can play with your friends in team battles, free for all, 1v1, or maybe even PvE at a later date. But other than that, thanks for watching.